people in organizations and in businesses all over the world, right? We're all so busy. Everybody's busy. And so like I'm riding on my hamster wheel, busy, right? And you're on your wheel, busy. And we look at each other and we're like, hey, you're busy over there. And we forget that we are responsible for our personal and professional development. At some point, you have to take a break from that like constant churn of getting things done and speak up. Do you need training in a particular skill? Do you want to grow in a particular area? Do you need to join a professional organization? And you cannot forget, no matter how busy you get, to both grow yourself both personally and professionally.
We have the pleasure of welcoming Allison Polin today to our interview series. I'm your host, Anushka Rajesh from the peopleHum team. Before we begin, just a quick introduction of peopleHum. peopleHum is an end-to-end, one-view integrated human capital management automation platform, the winner of the 2019 Global Cody Award for HCM that is specifically built for crafted employee experiences and the future of work. We run the peopleHum blog and video channel, which receives upwards of 200,000 visitors a year and publish around 2 interviews with well-known names globally every month. And now for our guest, Allison Polin is the founder and CEO of Break the Frame LLC and has over 20 years of experience designing, developing, and implementing programs to improve processes and human performance for Fortune 500 companies. Recognized for both her individual coaching skills and her organizational development and leadership focus, Ali never fails to make an impact. We are extremely happy and honored to have someone of her stature today on our interview series. Welcome, Ali. We're thrilled to have you.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
It's absolutely our pleasure. So, Allison, you've had an eventful career. So, can you just tell us in a nutshell about how you keep up the feeling of excelling each day?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I like what I do. So that makes a difference, right? When you look forward to what you do. And I think even when I was in university, I majored in sociology, which is all about people and systems and how they all work together. And so I've always sort of had a passion for it. I think when I think back though, one of the biggest things is when I first started working, I worked for a big consulting firm. And I had to develop the work plans for our work. So if we had to develop training for our clients, for example, I would develop a very detailed work plan. And I think I used to think that you celebrated when you finished, right? Like, oh, I finished doing what I'm doing and we can now have this big celebration. I think doing that work planning early in my career helped me recognize milestones that are much, much smaller that you can still celebrate. And so I really try to find things to celebrate along the way instead of just waiting until the end, which is motivating.
Right. The little things are what really culminate in being the big things at the end, right? Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one. Thank you for such an enlightening explanation on that. And coincidentally, even I've majored in sociology, so that's really some connection there, yeah. Okay, so Ali, according to you, how can organizations keep their talent management and organizational goals always aligned?
So I think the first thing that an organization can do to keep talent management and organizational goals in line is to talk to each other, not be like, oh, that's our talent management organization over there. They do the recruiting and they do the training and they do the succession planning or whatever they do. And then we are the business, we're the line, and we'll tell them what we need. So first of all, that is a mistake. You need to have everybody talking and engaging and understanding what makes the organization as a whole successful. It's not like one team gets the to-do list and the other team does the work. That's not a recipe for success. And in fact, when I used to work with clients, helping them develop an employee value proposition for recruits, right? So this particular company, one company I worked for that comes to mind, had a really hard time recruiting talent because they were sort of a mid to small level player where there were some really big name players in the market. They had lots of requisitions open and they needed talent. And they were having a hard time attracting it. They didn't know why, because they had a really robust training program. They had dollars available for people. So I went in, I met with the CEO, and the CEO told me about their vision and was so passionate, and their mission and what he expected of all people and where they were taking the business and where he wanted to take the business over the next 5 to 10 years. And it was super exciting. And so then I sat down and I interviewed people, and I talked to the recruiting team, and I talked to a lot of employees, and I said, what made you attracted to this company in the first place, and why should somebody come here? And I'm keeping the CEO's vision of where he wanted to head in mind. And literally 3 people said to me, because we can take unlimited smoke breaks. And I was like, oh, well, that's terrific. But it just showed me the huge disconnect between what the CEO wanted to achieve and the kinds of people that they were having to bring through the door. And no wonder they had seats available, because they weren't able to articulate the organizational strategy, and they weren't able to find people who can help them achieve that by people who were excited about unlimited smoke breaks as like the big perk of working there. So I think really engaging in that conversation, making sure that there is everybody understands the business, not just the people who are doing day-to-day client-facing work, is pretty essential, because otherwise you're going to end up with people who want to take unlimited smoke breaks instead of helping you achieve your organizational goals.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that was a really nice connect that you brought out there in that answer. So thank you for that. And Allison, there's a certain stress that you've constantly laid on the need to engage employees in the whole workplace, in the work process in an efficient and a right manner. So in your opinion, how do you think technology can act as an enabler in that process of engagement?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, because I think where I sort of started using technology sort of as an enabler of engagement was really where everybody did, probably 15 plus years ago, right? It was, let's do an employee engagement survey. And so I would go into organizations and I would do these terrific employee engagement surveys, often of their talent management organizations, interestingly. And that's where the challenge came in, right? So I'd get this great information, this great data, sometimes great recommendations from the team. And I'd present it to the leadership team and they'd say, this is great, thank you. And then what? Nothing. The whole point of an engagement survey is not to understand just what people are thinking, but to take action based on the information. And so technology enables you to get this great information. And then you need to put something in place, whether it's a change program, whether it's groups of people helping to inform what needs to happen to create a great place to work if that's what's missing. And most of the organizations I went into, it felt like they had a checklist. They were like, check, we used the technology, we did an employee engagement survey, yay for us. But that's not the point, right?
Absolutely.
That's not how you use technology. And another company I worked with ended up engaging a company that had an amazing performance management system. And they wanted to do performance management 3 to 4 times a year, which is like a ton, like a formal performance management. So they wanted the individuals to log in and catalog their successes and challenges. They wanted the managers to go in and add to that. They wanted the directors to read it and sign off on it. And then 1 of 2 senior leaders in the organization to do a final sign off. So you can imagine they were constantly in a performance management cycle, because that takes a very long time and a lot of effort. And so people were worried, like every time they made a mistake or took a risk or tried to be innovative, that it was going to end up in this system documented forever. And they created these convoluted, complex processes around a technology that was really pretty terrific to make life easier and to capture things easier and not make them harder. So I think there's a lot of organizations that take great technology and then they build these like silly processes around it that defeat the purpose. It's not how you engage the employees, by making more process for them. It's really tapping into the power of that technology to make life easier for everyone and accessible as well. So I think the key to technology is to use it as it's intended. When there's some really clean, beautiful technology out there, let it do what it's meant to do instead of fitting it into an old way of thinking about managing people and managing their time and managing their experience.
Absolutely. I agree with you on the fact that technology should actually be used not just for the sake of showing the world that, oh, well, we're using technology, but actually put it from a bottom-up experience, like from the workers up the hierarchy. So, Allison, you also talk about, finding meaning in your work. So how do you think young individuals can actually find a sense of purpose in what they do today in organizations?
It's a great question. And I think it's incredibly important, especially because we live in an age, as you and I both well know, right? Where you're not joining an organization and retiring from that same organization. And so moving from organization to organization, some people make the leap because they want more responsibility, but others because they're just not finding meaning where they are. And I think it takes three things. So one is vision, organizational vision, right? You have to know, like, what is this company doing? Because if I'm doing so imagine I graduated from university and I'm really excited. Like, I've done great work. I've studied, I feel good. And I'm like assigned a task, like just a task where I don't have to like engage my brain the way I want to. It's so much more empowering to think this piece I'm doing matters because this vision matters, right? So like, you have to know, like, why are you doing what you're doing, or it just feels exhausting. I think the second piece is team goals. You want to feel a part of a team and that you're accountable and responsible to those other people. And I think it gives you a sense of purpose. You know that other people are depending on you and you're depending on them. And together you can create something meaningful and special for the clients that you service or for the world, right? And I think the last piece is really personal goals, that you have to know what you want to get out of it. Because if you're not getting anything out of it, then it's really hard to have a sense of purpose and show up every day. And, you know, when I was a part of a leadership team that came in to the organization I was working for after another entire leadership team had left. And so they brought in all new leaders. And so we didn't know our employees, but we wanted to get to know them. And we came in right at the end of a performance management cycle. And so we were delivered all of their reviews. And they said, good luck, you deliver the reviews. And so I said, I will deliver the reviews. I was at the time responsible for people and innovation. I wanted to get to know the people. And everybody who came to my office, I said, okay, let's go over your review, which we did. And I said, but that's your past. I don't really know you. Let's talk about, why are you here? What do you want from this job? What do you want in 5 years? How can we, as a leadership team, how can we help you get where you want to go professionally, not just help you deliver what we ask you to deliver? And I think having them know that what they wanted and where they wanted to go and where they wanted to grow mattered immensely to our team made a big difference to their sense of purpose, because I made a dual sense of purpose. It was to grow themselves and to help the organization be successful. And I think those pieces together really matter.
Absolutely. And responding to your own innate purpose is equally, if not more, essential than the organization. So I completely agree with you on that one.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. And Ali, just to kind of wrap up this interview process, do you have any last sound bites you'd like to leave our audience with?
You know, I do. So I would say, if you, so people in organizations and in businesses all over the world, right? We're all so busy. Everybody's busy. And so like, I'm riding on my hamster wheel, busy, right? And you're on your wheel, busy. And we look at each other and we're like, hey, you're busy over there. And we forget that we are responsible for our personal and professional development. At some point, you have to take a break from that like constant churn of getting things done and speak up. Do you need training in a particular skill? Do you want to grow in a particular area? Do you need to join a professional organization? Engage a coach? There are tremendous resources like Coursera that has free courses in so many different areas. And you cannot forget, no matter how busy you get, to both grow yourself both personally and professionally, because nobody's going to be like, hey, do you think you want to grow and expand your skills and make time for that? No, you have to make it a priority.
Absolutely.
So that's where I would.
That's great. Yes, I agree with you. You know, learning is a constant process. There's no one start or end point. It's a journey that we're all in and will always be in. So yes.
Exactly.
I think that piece of advice is something that our audience shall surely benefit from.
Good.
Thank you for that, Ali. So, Ali, I had a wonderful time talking to you, and thank you so much for taking your time and sharing your views with us. Personally, it's been such an enriching experience for me, and I'm sure if I can benefit so much from a 20-minute conversation, I'm sure our audience are heavily going to benefit from it too. So,
awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for making the time, and have a safe and happy and healthy time ahead of you.
My pleasure. You too. Thanks so much for asking me.